Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope that you are having a good day. And let's talk about the headlines. Headline, basically for almost 2 weeks now. Headline is Charter and ESPN. They remain in a battle to decide what's going to happen. In many ways, the future of the bundle, the packaging. Right now, it is Charter pays ESPN approximately $2.2 billion a year for their entire package, which is ESPN and also all the Disney channels. And they don't want to do that anymore. Disney feels that there's also a cost increase they should be getting. Charter doesn't. And so their loggerheads do not look for this one to end quickly, but we'll see how it goes. It could go either way. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see. Hey, Terrence, how you doing? What happens if Fox is unavailable to find a streamer to partner with? Will Fox find it impossible to compete for sports media rights in the future? I think that would be, and we're talking now maybe 4 or 5 years down the line. Very important for them to find a streaming service to partner with or to develop their own. So it hurt them in the World Cup when the men's World Cup, and it didn't help them in the women's World Cup because, again, in the men's World Cup, those games were relatively easy to watch. You didn't have the time difference was large, but it wasn't immeasurable and tough to overcome. So they put the games on Tubi, which they own, which is it's not a stream, it's a streaming service, not a streaming platform. So from that standpoint, the moment the game was over, they put it on Tubi, but that didn't help what they needed to have done. So I think, look, they're obviously Fox is a beautiful company, and they have ample partners who, potential partners, I should say, who will be more than happy to help them. So I think that's going to be that they'll figure it out. I mean, right now they don't seem to be having any urgency to do it, but I believe because the NASCAR contract comes up here soon, which the Xfinity Series went to the CW, which was quite a surprise. So let's see how they play. Major League Baseball is going to want them to get into the streaming business. They may even get into the streaming business, Major League Baseball, with Major League Baseball. So that's a possibility. And they may find that NFL Plus, which is, the NFL's branding streamer, might be where they end up with the NFL game. So they could either do it one of two ways. They could do it by partnership with like Amazon, Apple, or YouTube, or they could do it the other way, which is partnering with the folks at the leagues that they deal with. So from that standpoint, we'll take a look and see how it goes. But I do believe they'll figure it out between now and when some of these contracts are coming up. And I do believe that they will have some sort of streaming partner, if it's the league or if it's a partner who will invest with them. As you know, I don't know whether you know it or not, but ESPN has. That's a good question. Good morning, Immaculate. Good to see you this morning. We're just talking about two different things: Charter and Disney, and then of course how Fox is going to be looking for a streamer. So we've got those two things on the agenda here. Pardon me for a drink here. This Charter thing in ESPN is getting really ugly. Folks missed their first weekend of college football on ESPN, which is a lot of ESPN college football. And they missed the first week of the U.S. Open tennis. And they're likely to do that again this week. And they may go ahead and even lose Monday Night Football for those who are subscribers to Charter. How do you feel about what's going down there? I have Thompson to take take, but I think it's about you on that. Well, here's, Bob, yeah, gotcha, don't worry. Yeah, I know, I knew who you meant even without the difference. John Thompson was a great basketball coach. Bob probably not, but a better executive. Look, I think that what they want to do, Charter, and this is not a bad business idea, is to break up the paying Disney $2.2 billion. Their competition in many ways. So the thought that from Disney and ESPN that they would increase the money was, I'm not going to say that they were naive about it, but they thought, okay, let's just do business as usual. Let's come in and let's negotiate from where we were before and negotiate up. Charter, on the other hand, is, going, no, we don't have as many subscribers. So why negotiate up? What it may be is the opportunity for Charter to break the bundling. And I think that's where they're going. I do. I think Charter is going to really put, their foot down and not blink. They're 14.7 million people in subscribers. I mean, they want. It's not that they don't want the Disney product. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they don't want to pay as much for it as they have been in the past, like $2.2 billion per year. So they're going to say, well, look, Disney Plus is a competitor of ours, as is ESPN Plus, as is Hulu. So why are we paying you, more than your subscribers are paying you? And so, that's going to be the question. They want to get some cost efficient way to continue to carry the content, but carry it at a reduced rate. And if you think about it, business-wise, that makes sense. I mean, if you're in competition with, Burger King, why would you then, if you're McDonald's, say, no problem, we'll just, we want to charge more, even though we're going to lose people to McDonald's or to Burger King. So anyway, they don't want to lose money and spend money on the competition. They, in essence, would be fueling and enabling and paying for rights fees that they didn't incur. So I think the Charter is definitely going to hold tight. Now, just to remind you, out in Los Angeles, when Charter put together the Dodgers package, Dodger fans didn't get to see Dodger baseball for 3 years because Comcast and others out there wouldn't carry it because Charter was being, very conservative and very tight with, okay, we're not going to allow you to, we're not going to take, pennies on the dollar. We're not going to take 2/3 of what we ask. We're asking for X and we're going to get X. If we don't get X, then we're not allowing you to carry it. And people thought, well, okay, then the pressure from Dodger fans are going to be so bad that they're going to be canceling Charter and going to DirecTV or something like that. And that didn't happen. So I think Charter is going to, hold tight on this. I don't think they're going to just acquiesce to ESPN, even though people will be mad. I do see this, though. I do think that most of the serious sports fans are going to want to move to streaming. They'll go to YouTube TV. They'll go to Hulu TV Plus. They'll go to Sling if they don't. If having local channels. If you don't have a problem with putting up a small antenna and just getting the regular channels, then you can do work with Sling or Fubo, where you would get all of your football, basketball, hockey, soccer content without any problem. So I do believe that they'll peel off it'll lose them some subscribers. But I think from a corporate standpoint, the corporate folks are going to try to stay tight on that one. But we'll see, that's for sure. Let's see what we got here okay. Why would a streamer partner with Fox for media rights? Wouldn't streamers more likely acquire content directly rather than? The answer to the first part of the question is it would allow them to get the rights in partnership. So it would cost them theoretically less money if they've got a partner who's going to kick in some money. So that would be the answer to part one. The part two of your question, when the streamers be more likely to acquire content directly. Yes, but then it would be at a higher price. And the other thing that is an issue which we saw in the Pac-12 negotiations was that these partners do want linear as well. So they want the games to be on, or the races or whatever, on in area in a way that the folks can watch it on traditional broadcast or cable, just and also stream it. So that's what I think is going to happen. They'll get a partner. I do believe they'll get a partner in the not too distant future. But yeah, number one answer to your question is they probably would. And why? Because it's gonna, if you think about it, if it's Amazon, for instance, or YouTube, instead of spending $4 billion on something, they can spend $2 billion on it. Fox can put in the other. So, it reduces the amount of money out of pocket for them, while the rights fees, can still be in line with what the leagues need or want. So that's why I think they'll get it. And as to media content directly, I think what we've seen is Amazon, put together a package for 11 years for the NFL, and that was for a single game. So it wasn't like tonnage. They didn't want a lot of stuff. On the other hand, Apple took on the MLS and paid for that, but the MLS also paid for the production. So from a acquisition standpoint, I think they've got a ton of stuff going on, and I think that'll be fun for them to find a partner. And look, they'll find a dance partner. I have no doubt about that. And the Apple, Amazon, and YouTube would like to just be partners with a network because it's easier. Because you can promote them, they can promote you. So it's a win-win in that regard. So let's take a look here. Okay. See this question. If they break the bundle, how many others will follow? How long? I think if they break the bundle, if Spectrum and Spectrum is able to bust you, my producer sneezed in the background. If they're able to break it, then they're likely to break it. And again, this is kind of a two-part answer. If they break the ESPN Disney bundle, okay, then the Discovery bundle, which is in there as well, which is TNT, TBS, and all the Discovery channels, which is Food Network, HGTV, etc. They'll probably attempt to do the same. Once they open that floodgate, then that I think will give Comcast, Cox, and the other cable companies a template for the negotiations, and it will if there's one thing that could boost the streaming numbers and boost them quickly, it's if that breaks apart. If that comes apart, then there'll be a quick decision as to what they're going to do. Are you going to be a streamer, or are you going to cable? Because at that point, there's going to be fractions of what goes on for normal situations. So you're going to get how much do I want to spend, and what am I getting, and it's going to sink. And I don't mean it's going to sound dramatic, but it's not supposed to be. It's going to sink the cable model as we know, okay? Because the cable model is bundling. Well, if that bundling is gone now, and they make you pay a la carte for everything, well, then you get to pick what you want. But then again, the amount of money that the TNT, the TBSs, the ESPNs, and the Discoveries of the world is going to be far less than what they're getting now, which is why they're starting to offload and put together their streaming packages and consolidating. Do you expect Amazon and Apple will each seek to purchase their own linear broadcast? They could. We know one of them's up for sale. Yeah, ABC is. I don't know that they want that, though. I think that, while they could do it, I think partnerships are probably the wisest choice, because Apple and Amazon are not in the business of television. That's not what they do for a living. And so if you buy a network, a traditional network, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you. I think that they would much rather partner with them and use their expertise, and then use the money that Apple and Amazon can bring to the table for rights and for distribution and to put things out on a worldwide basis. So I think that the partnership aspect of it is probably where they may go. Now, is it possible they may invest? Yeah. I mean, could I see where Apple or an Amazon could invest in a Fox or invest in a CBS or an ABC or an NBC? Sure, I think that is possible. But I don't think they desperately want to go out and buy a network because, again, Amazon and Apple are not in that business. And so we'll see how that plays out. Good question. All right, Justin. Hey, Justin, how you doing? Does Oregon State and Washington State need to hurry up and figure things out? Answer to your question, short answer, yes. PAC rebuild, I don't see it. I don't think that Washington State, Oregon State can justify the numbers to push the Pac-12 or PAC whatever. First of all, they have to get 6 new members before they're even a conference, but they have 2 years to do that. The NCAA gives them 2 years. They'll lose they will lose the Power 5 designation. So if I'm in the Mountain West, or if I'm in the American, why would I jump to a conference that's going to be a G5 conference anyway? So I think that I don't see them rebuilding the PAC. There's too many variables there. They don't have a TV partner to do it with, and you're starting with 2 good schools. I mean, there's no doubt Oregon State they're playing quite well this year. They could win the whole Pac-12 football championship. But I think that where they're going is Mountain West. Now, could they do a reverse merger? Yes. Is that likely? It's hard to do, and you would be rebranding everything, and it would be the Mountain West. I don't see anybody onboarding with them. I don't see that happening. I don't see them expanding, because what am I doing? I am literally paying to get out of a conference where I know what I'm doing, to go across the country and play in a conference where it's going to cost me more. Even if I get a couple extra $1 million more in my TV deal, it's just not going to make any sense. So I think had Stanford and Cal been in that mix, that would have been a totally different story. But with Washington State, Oregon State, they don't have the juice to do it. And so, no. As much as I hate to see the conference go away, it's a foregone conclusion that, as a Power 5 conference, it's gone. And so I think Oregon State, Washington State would be wise to work with Ms. Navarro, the commissioner of the Mountain West, and work out a deal there. And I think they would succeed in the Mountain West very well. Absolutely. So, good question. The Apple Coast Conference. Could Apple receive that conference's rights from ESPN? Such a deal? No. It would. I mean, right now, ESPN's got those. I'm assuming you're talking about the Atlantic Coast Conference. Has their rights through 2036. I'm sorry, 2036. I don't see that happening. Right now, ESPN's got them for a bargain. Why would they want to put Apple into that for money. And if I'm Apple, what am I getting for this deal? Now, if you're saying, could Apple and ESPN talk to each other about, sweetening the pot and making things nicer for Clemson and Florida State? Again, they're competitors, so I don't see where Apple and ESPN Plus make a deal like that. Stranger things have happened, so I'm going to say no, never. But I do think that look, if you've got cost certainty to 2036, why would you give them extra money just because they're 3 or 4 of them that are going to challenge the grant of rights? I would, if I'm ESPN, I would wait till I saw whether or not FSU and Clemson could actually get out of the grant of rights. So I wouldn't concern myself about that much if I'm ESPN. Right now, anyway, I wouldn't concern myself much about it. And I think Apple's going to sit in the sideline now and kind of wait and see what happens with the next big thing, right? Right. The Mountain West has all the leverage between the PAC and the Mountain West. Aresco is already, yeah. He was out whenever Stanford and Cal signed. So there was no reason for the American to go west because of Oregon State and Washington State, because those would have been the 2 furthest teams away from the conference. And while would they have brought value? They would have brought value. There's no question, but the value would have really been spent away whenever you think about what they would have done in the way of how much travel costs and such it would be. So, you're right. Mountain West holds all the cards in that one. They really, Oregon State and Washington State really doesn't have much they can deal with that. Don't see ACC being, I don't see, that is a backloaded. It's a backloaded contract, true, but it's still not the money that the SEC or the Big Ten's getting. So, yeah, I agree with you that it's backloaded, but that was the reason it was backloaded, so that the money would increase, toward the end of the contract. But it's still not going to be enough to keep Clemson and FSU from, pounding their fist and wanting more. And but from a standpoint of the longevity of a deal, it's 2036 is a pretty good deal. There'll be 2 more contracts from the Big 12 and from probably the SEC and even the Big 10. Those contracts will come. They'll get a second contract before the ACC finishes their first. So we'll see on that one. And the ratings, yeah. If something was to happen to that relationship now, ESPN, we've gotten off very cheaply. Yeah, true. I don't. The only thing, if someone is able, and I don't know that we have seen no reason to believe it, but if there's somebody is able to break the grant of rights, that would definitely give ESPN an out if they wanted. But I think ESPN is really happy with the package they have at the ACC. And they've proven, year in, year out, that that's been something that they've enjoyed. So I'm not certain that I would be too keen on what's going on there. I think that's something that ESPN likes it. They got off in a situation like that. I don't see, even if they break their grant of rights, they don't break the contract with ESPN. So, that's going to be an interesting situation going forward. But I don't think ESPN is going to lose that contract because in court or something like that. It's going to take years to fight that court battle. And we don't even know who's going to even fight it. I mean, we know that FSU's yelled about it. We know that Clemson behind the scenes has yelled about it. We know North Carolina's not happy. But, until they show up in court with a good reason to file papers and to try to break it, nobody's broken it, so ESPN's just, cruising along. How much would Florida cost Florida State get? Well, that's a good question. Theoretically, it would cost $120 million to get out. Okay, that's just a buyout of the grant of rights. But then again, FSU, they're out of the grant of rights. The murky spot goes, where is, does ESPN own the games? Because that's the $500 million buyout. So there's two buyouts. There's a buyout of the grant of rights. There's a buyout of the television package. The grant of rights is $120 million. And then there's $500 million now, which could be, let's say this could be negotiated down. You're still talking somewhere in the neighborhood of, at best, $300 million. So that's $450 million to get out of the grant of rights, to either go to a Big Ten or a SEC, where it's going to take you the better part of 10 years to make up what you just, what you just bought yourself out of. So, I expect Florida State to remain in the ACC. I expect them to try to get out. I expect Clemson to try to get out. I expect North Carolina to try to get out. But I think it remains to be seen whether they get out before 2036. My guess is, and this is just a guess, I have no idea, obviously, is they find a way. Now, how, I don't know, but I think they go to court. I think in a long, long court battle, they'll figure something out. But yeah, I think sometime in the 2030s, they'll be able to figure out a way to get out of this. It's going to be later in the contract, though. It's not going to be now. It'll be, 2031, 2032, something like that. But not now. I don't think they're going to let them out now. I think more than FSU, Clemson. Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. For those three going to public expansion. Well, I think, if let's say you're Miami, right? And you're on that. I mean, we know that there's 7 that aren't happy. So if 3 of them are willing to go on the record and say they're not happy, then there's no reason for the others to chirp in. And basically, the Stanford Cal SMU deal came down to them flipping Carolina State, because Carolina State at the end of the day realized, I know that North Carolina is against this, but if today they were able to get out of it, I'm telling you now, North Carolina right now, to go to the Big Ten, would Carolina say, well, I'm only going to the Big Ten if you take, NC State with me? Well, no, that's not going to happen. So NC State figured, all right, fine. We've got the opportunity to get these 3 schools, backfill us from the get-go, or give us some numbers which we need. So why play that role? So I think there's a bunch of them who want out, but there's also a bunch of them who don't trust each other. So I think that's where the situation is at this point. So they onboarded those 3, which got them some money. I mean, it's not like they didn't get cash out of the deal. And remember that those 3 teams signed into the grant of rights. They didn't sign into that grant of rights, and they're in there for until 2036. So it's not just a one-off, right? It's there's an entire group of people that are going to be stuck in that grant of rights to 2036. So, and with the schools that they have, like Duke, Virginia, Pitt, Syracuse, you've got some, and Georgia Tech, you've got some. You could put together what, in essence, is almost a higher, just a high sports content package of nearly Ivy League schools. So academically, you would have a heck of a Virginia Tech as well. You'd have a pretty impressive group to stay there, and a group that probably could command a nice little chunk of TV revenue and wouldn't lose its Power 5 backing. So yeah, there might be something. Now look, Stanford and Cal, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Stanford and Cal to get better in football. Stanford, had some teams not to just, not that far back in history that played well. So, and so did Cal. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be a thing in place and working. There's no question about that. Which side is going to win, Charter or Spectrum versus? I think. I think Spectrum is. I think they're going to go and break this thing apart. Some say that Disney has the, because they have the subscribers on their side, that they'll do it. But I just think from a business standpoint, Charter just wants to make certain that they're not on the hook for, over $2 billion for the length of a contract that they're going to end up and lose money on. So I don't see that happening. I think Spectrum's going to hold Disney and ESPN's feet to the fire. And so if anybody caves here, I think it's going to be Disney. I think they're going to, if they take a lesser amount to keep the bundle together, then I think that Spectrum would take the deal. But I don't know. My understanding is that they met over the weekend, over the holiday weekend. They're still meeting and exchanging paper, so anything's possible. But I think that that ESPN's going to have to come and Disney's going to have to come with a much lower price point if they think that they're going to be able to get beyond this. So I think if there's a winner, and in this case it's probably kind of a hollow victory, but anyway, I think it'd be Spectrum. I think the cable company's going to win. I think they're going to get one of two things. One, they're going to get the bundle blown up, or two, they're going to get ESPN Disney to negotiate to a smaller number, and I think that's where they're going to go. Because in Disney's case, they're not going to offload ESPN to ESPN Plus until 2025, at which point they're going to be asking for some crazy monthly fee of somewhere between $20 and $35 for all of ESPN's packages. So that's coming, but it's not here yet. So I guess, yeah, Spectrum, I think, will win this one, and ESPN will acquiesce and ask for a lower number. One that they can both live with, and get them through to, they need to get, if you're Disney and ESPN, you need to get through 2025, 2026. So let's see if that's how they play it. But yeah, I think Spectrum right now is going to hold firm. I don't see them blinking. So we'll see. Is Roku the best digital platform? In my experience, yes. It's very user friendly versus Fire Stick. They've added a number of channels, which are free channels, which are good channels. It's pretty intuitive, so you can. It looks like the apps are there and they work like they do on your phone. So it's almost like looking at your phone and scrolling down and getting and launching the launching the channel. So yeah, I think it's easier to navigate. I noticed when playing with Fire Stick and using Fire Stick, it's not as clean and crisp and easy to work as Roku is. And Roku, either the stick or the little box, is got a nice little power processor in it. So buffering is not an issue in that, from that standpoint. So if I were pitching somebody on it, I would definitely use Roku versus Apple TV or Fire Stick or the others. Not that not that they don't have their advantages, they do, but I think it's easier to use Roku than it is to use Fire Stick, and it makes a transition if you're someone who has not has been with cable for a long time. It makes it a little easier for you to. I mean, and you can put the channels in wherever you want them, so you can put your apps anywhere. Like the front line of the apps can be the ones 1, 2, 3 lines could be the ones you use the most, and then just go down there and add them as you wish. And they've got a very robust channel store with a bunch of different things to do from that standpoint. So yeah, I would recommend that you go to Roku. Hey guys, don't forget, help me out here. Subscribe, hit the bell, and like us. And if you do have a question later, and I'm not available because we're off the air, come on back and put it up, and we'll get an answer to it. So that's where we can go from there. But now Roku, I think it'd be better. A lot of people like to try the Roku stick first before they go to buying one of the Roku boxes. But either way, it's I have a couple of Roku boxes, and I have TCL Roku TV, and they're all easy to use, very easy to use. And we've been off of the cable for now 5 years, so it's a pretty good deal. What do we got here? So how does the potential collapse affect talks for a CFP if all of a sudden networks are willing to pay out big? Well, the way to look at this is that Comcast Universal, NBC Universal, Disney, ESPN, Fox, the programming side I think what will happen is we'll open up, it will open up some avenues for some streamers to get involved in the CFP negotiations. So let's say, and we saw what happened this year, right? Amazon is now in their second year of a Thursday night football game. One of the playoff games went to Peacock. Okay. So I can foresee a streamer getting in there for, a college football playoff. Maybe 2 streamers getting in there for that. I can foresee, the amount of money being spent. Remember, when Iger was talking about, the NBA and all the other stuff, it was spend money on something that is important. Well, college football playoff is important. So I assume that, ESPN will be there, Fox will be there. Clearly NBC, when they got into the Big Ten, proved they have an interest in it. CBS, Paramount has an interest in it. Apple, Amazon, YouTube will probably all have an interest in it. So they'll get the numbers they want. I'm talking about CFP will get the numbers they want. It'll be, though, and this I think is the most important thing about it, it will be at with a number of partners, not the old days where it might just be ESPN and Fox, but now it may be ESPN, it may be Fox, CBS, NBC, and our streamers. So it may look more like an NFL deal where everybody gets a little bit of something, but when you tally up the money at the end, it's a good sized chunky change. So I think that's where it's going to happen. I think they're going to have multiple partners in this deal, and the multiple partners will spend accordingly. And so the programming people will be able to say, we spent less, which they can, and we got what we wanted, which was, college football playoffs, but we're sharing it with other partners. And so I think that's what you're going to see happen, where you're going to see different people have different opportunities to to end up getting what they want, but at a price point that is not going to kill them. And I think that's what we're going to see from pretty much this day forward, is that kind of collegiality between networks, which you never saw before. But actually, Mike Aresco and Tony Petitti started that operation when Turner and CBS went into the NCAA tournament together. So I think we're going to see a lot of that from now on, that there'll be a lot of partnerships that arrange through there. Not necessarily are they going to be partners in so much as NBC and CBS are going to partner to do something. It's just that the partners being the CFP will have partners as opposed to the networks partnering with each other on this particular thing. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got time, guys, for one or two more questions, and then school's out this morning. So if you have anything else, let me just jump over here to the chat box and see what they got going on whilst you guys are ready. Okay. Let's see. Why doesn't ECU and Boise State have a number more games on TV? Well, it's a good question, Melanie. My answer would be this, and that is that, look, Boise State and East Carolina are fine mid-major teams, and they're going to be on, all their games are on. So they're on ESPN Plus or ESPN, and some of them are on CBS Sportsnet. So they're on, but, you know, right now it's hard for a number of schools to get into, you know, the prime time places. So, you know, I think we all have to sit back and realize that, you know, we just enjoy our games. You know, just enjoy watching your team play, and don't worry about, you know, whether or not they're being respected or disrespected by the networks or by, you know, other conferences or whomever. Just I think it'd be fun just to watch the games and not worry about that kind of stuff. But I can understand, you know, where East Carolina, Boise State, and others feel like they're being left out, because a lot of people are being left out. Okay, all right. Well, there you go. All right, boys and girls, I appreciate you being with me today. It's been fun. Come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll have some more opportunity to chat with each other. And have a good day. As I said, before you leave, though, subscribe, hit the bell, and like us, okay? That's greatly appreciated. And if you have any kind of questions or comments, come on back. If for some reason that you didn't get to see the whole show from the beginning, it'll be up in about 5 seconds after we hit the button here. So check it out. So thanks, guys and gals, for being here on a Wednesday. I hope that wherever you are, it's not as hot as it is here on the East Coast. Maybe you can get some water and iced tea and sit back and have a nice lunch coming up here and have a nice day at the office. Enjoy yourself. And thanks so much for joining us here today. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, again, take care.